What's up, everyone? This is your boy Rock Clever. This is my 26th video for the Post Every Night in September challenge. So we are here again, and this is almost over, and I'm like literally counting down the days. I have all my videos decided and fleshed out in my head, and I am ready to take a YouTube break and hopefully come back with better videos and more editing and more fun stuff and, excitement. But anyhow. So, we were on the phone yesterday with a friend, and we were having a conversation about just dating and just anything about dating and relationships and location. And somehow we ended this discussion about, is DC the South? And there's this common belief amongst DC people and sometimes the United States that DC is not the South. But let's be very clear. As a Washingtonian and someone who has at least maybe five generations of relatives living here right now, DC is definitely the fucking South. DC is technically below the Mason-Dixon. Even though the Mason-Dixon is, I need you to look up your American history and what it involves. Civil War, anything below the Mason-Dixon, slaves were still allowed, and basically this was the top of the South. So for me growing up, I definitely got the Southern experience. DC, I feel like, doesn't have that same Southern charm like in Atlanta or North Carolina or maybe like a Florida or something like that. It's not really that kind of Southern charm. But I grew up in as we call the boonies, and I lived in a very my neighborhood sat next to a tobacco farm. And mind you, this is the 80s. And even back then, was not just tobacco farms. To the left of the development, there was a cornfield next to the development as well. And I remember distinctly playing hide and go seek in the cornfields, and remember distinctly at one time we played in the cornfields, which I think was the last time we played in the cornfields. There was a greyhound in the cornfields, and I'm not about that life. And that motherfucker would have mauled me. That'd been the last time I seen my little black ass ever in life, ever. Also, several things about the South. It's just I didn't grow up eating as people eat today, healthy and shit. Everything was pigs, and I eat chitlins and still love chitlins. Pig's feet, still love pig's feet. Eating all that shit, from rooter to the damn tutor. Come on. For real. Eat all that shit. I just don't, I say y'all. So, just, y'all is a very Southern expression. There's a lot of things. What else? But I don't understand why people just don't think DC is the South. DC is very, very country. I mean, even the accent today is kind of different. People be like, what do they say? I'm getting my mother and my brother, and y'all got me good. And where's Eric? He's from the area, or you from the DMV, or what's that little boy did that video? Should DMV girls say, and that shit is all fucking true. They say that, they talk like that now, but back then we didn't talk like that because our parents taught us to have real voices and talk proper English and different things, and those things have kind of gone out the window somehow. But yeah, DC is the South. I am very Southern. I feel like I do have Southern charm. Especially even old wives' tale and stuff. I remember my mother, she would always be like, it's New Year's Eve. I mean, was New Year's Eve or New Year's Day? I haven't done it in so long, but you have to have at least a spoonful of black eyed peas for good luck for the entire year. Or my mother did not believe in putting her purse on the ground, because if you had a purse on the ground, then you had a broke home and you had no money and you never put your purse on the ground. So my thing, don't ever say a woman's purse on the ground, I fucking lose it. You put your purse up on something. Don't put your purse on the ground. It's bad luck. And even though technically you shouldn't believe in luck, but that's another thing. But don't believe in blessings. Not luck. What else? What else is very Southern about DC? I don't know. But if you are a Washingtonian and you are a native Washingtonian, pause. let's be very clear. If you go outside of, like, the DMV, like Montgomery County, Prince George's County, um, Fairfax County, Arlington, and, like, Alexandria and things like that, these motherfuckers are, like rednecks, for real. I have seen it. Like, cause my gym is out in a county called Anne Arundel County, and when I oh, this leads into another story too. When one day I was going to the gym, this motherfucker had the biggest fucking Confederate flag, like, waving from the back of his fucking pickup. Like, I've never seen a Confederate flag before up here. So I clearly have forgotten this place is the South. But which is even more ironic to the story, that in that same area, I worked at a Friendly's years ago. I was like 17. And I remember I was working and I did something, pissed off a guest or something, or he was upset about his food taking too long or something. And this man called me a nigga bitch. Like, a nigga bitch. And no one did anything about it. Like, no one did. Like, no one did anything about it. Like, they was like, oh, don't worry about it. Don't take it personally. And I remember distinctly that the day it happened, my sister was working there too, and she was one of my managers. And she was just like, she was like, it's not the fact that this is my little brother and I'm being defensive, it's the fact that a customer calls someone a nigga. And at that, a nigga bitch. And I think she walked out that night. I think my sister walked out or quit the next day or something. I can't remember what happened. But I remember it distinctly. And that's when I was just like, that was my first experience with racism in this area. Blatant racism. DC does have racism, contrary to belief, but it's kind of like underneath. But you can, like, definitely tell when you're dealing with law enforcement in this area that it's not like Mississippi kind of hatred. I hate to use Mississippi as an example. I don't have any proof of that, but it's not like what you would typically think of being in the South and what you would think of racial harassment, but these motherfuckers up here, it is something different, but I think people don't really, it's so under the radar, I think people don't really pick up on it. But anyhow, from your experience to my experience, do you consider yourself Southern? And if you are from the Washington D.C. area, metro area, do you consider yourself Southern if you're a native? So let me know in the comments below, and until next video. If you like this video and you want to see more, make sure you comment, subscribe, like, and share. Come on, it's Ron Clever, and you're trying to get into this thing, so you should, like, subscribe, and it's awesome, and it's the best thing ever. And besides, sometimes I'm, like, totally not wearing clothes. So follow me. And also you can find me on Twitter at Ron Clever, also on Tumblr at Ron Clever, on Instagram at Ron Clever, and check out my blog at ronclever.com. Love you all.